Hello, everybody. I'm just a word from MakingStarWars.net, and this is Making Star Wars show. Starting a little different today because I messed it up. Here it goes.
With MakingStarWars.net.
Can you hear me? You can hear me now. I'm just a word from MakingStarWars.net, and today we're going to be talking about the old Star Wars news. Oh, hey, Force Ghost Rob. How's it going?
Hey, what's up? 2 frames per second.
Is that what I look like? I look like 2 frames per second?
Maybe 15.
Is that for everyone, or is that just for Rob? That's the question. Because, yeah, that does look a little bit weird, doesn't it? Why does everything have to be dumb? Oh, I see what they did. I don't need that. I want to look old. All right. Is it better now?
Hey, you look the same, but you're at 60 frames per second. That's good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, they added some new features to the service that I don't want that are automatically on. So make sure yours are off too, for what it's worth. But yeah, how's everybody doing today? So we got people in the chat, which is nice. So it's good to see everybody. And we can hear you, but you kind of glitch. McConnell. Oh no. Oh no. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Everyone's running out to defend the honor of that fucking. How many people are dead because of him? Like, just think about it, you know? Yeah. How many hundreds of thousands of Americans, just Americans, since they don't care about the world.
Red-blooded Americans. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So stupid service, who needs that? That's what I say, Skywalker. I don't know why they did it. I don't know why they added that. It was unnecessary. But yeah, today we got a bunch of Star Wars news to catch up on and stuff like that from I'll be using Bestman Bulletin as always, you know. And
see Jason, see Jason, this show can go away, right? And Santa can be in Gatlinburg doing jack squat for like a week. But we always know Bestman Bulletin will be out there to endlessly post. And he just won't stop
posting. Actually, you were well, you know, no, I'll be honest with you. That isn't true. I mean, like today, like, okay, so like I've been around today because, you know, I rent this place. And like the person who owns it, I am related to. And I pay this person rent. I pay this person to live here. And they just like showed up out of the blue during my workday, wanting something from a part of the property that I don't have access to, that I don't use. It's not mine. And other family members have it, started blaming it as being my kid's stuff or something just random like that. I'm like, it's not mine. I don't know. I got 2 minutes. I have a work meeting. Can't do this right now. This person just goes ballistic, raises their hand like they're going to punch me. I'm like, fucking do it. Just do it then. And then they're trying to get me to punch them. Yes. Yeah.
What?
And they're a big old fat fuck. Let's just put it that way.
Did your brother come at you, bro?
No.
Okay.
No,
just
and check. Let's not play a game of which family member is a piece of shit.
No. I just thought the come at me, bro thing would be that would be a crazy.
Cool. Yeah, my brother's cool. Good. He rents the other room here actually with us.
Right.
And so
it's Max.
Anyways, though,
she did it.
No, and then and then you know, just starts trying to fight me, just coming at me and stuff like that. And then my wrists are sprained. I don't know if they were sprained, but they were swollen. My fingers are all jacked up, and I wasn't taking the bait. They were wanting me to ignite the lightsaber and go, you know, go in on them. Like they were trying to cause a fight to stay. Fucking who knows why? Who
what does that have to do with Bestman refusing to stop posting? Like,
well, it only has a lot to do with why Bestman.
Well, just making sure we're on target here.
Oh, we are. No, and it's like for, you know, I don't know, like the last month before this, he and I, we hang out all the time. We've been talking. I've been like, I don't think this is worth doing right now anymore. Like, I have to, for number one, this is all going to come full circle, but I have to, I got to move out of here. I can't stay here. I'm not going to stay here. And then we got this writer strike, perfect storm thing going on. So what I do as my side work is writing. That's what I do. Well, if you're a writer and you do freelance side work, there is none anymore, because 30,000 fucking people from Hollywood just started doing that as side hustles, whether they're supposed to or not. I think they're allowed to, but like, so that's all dried up. That's not a thing right now. Let's put it this way: something I would, let's say, make $2,000 for, I could do it now for about, seriously, $350.
Jesus.
Like, there's not enough hours in the month to do that job. And so, Bespin side hustles, that affects him too. That and like I said, I've been more on the negative side of this whole thing as of late, because people would rather give money to cults of personality. I don't really need to give money to Bespin Bulletin or Making Star Wars. I would rather give it to a guy who gives me my Star Wars news like it's ESPN. What? You just want it third hand and fucking told to you stupid?
You want it like Bespin, not like Espin, ESP, right? Bespin, ESPN.
Yeah, Bespin. But it's like, so I'm like telling him, so I'm like telling Bespin this whole time, like, I don't think this is worth it. These people, they don't appreciate us. Now, for the record, the 49-ish of you in the chat right now, you guys are great. You guys have always supported us. You guys do a good job. I'm not trying to come in on you. This is about more of the whole thing en masse, So I have to get it. So anyways, so like right now, I'm like today, I'm here because I missed you and some of our friends in chat. I don't see the big point in this at this time. There's no, Hollywood is fucking shut down. It's going to be shut down for the rest of the year. It won't be, I don't even know if it's going to be up at the start of next year, to be honest with you. I think that they're trying to move the auteurs in and give them, I'm hearing things that make me think they're trying to bait director writers into breaking. That's where this is going, with big money. And then once they have them, they don't need anybody. And then everything's even fucking more broken, right? So all of this is going on. Like, I don't feel like I'm throwing him under the bus. He said this on Twitter. Like, Bespin's been like, I'm having to sell my personal possessions right now because there's no money. People aren't, thank you for the super chat, dude. I appreciate it, man. Savage Cabbage, you're the best. I do appreciate it.
High in fiber and cash.
Hey.
All right. Appreciate it.
No, but like I said, like Bespin's been having to sell his fucking his personal possessions, because that's how like bad this is. So I'm kind of getting this on like a perfect storm of, now I gotta move, but there's not really any work now. So now I gotta find like another job. And then like when I get into all of that, like, I don't know if I'll be coming back to this. I mean, there's a lot of abuse in this, just to be honest with you, beyond family abuse. There's a lot of abuse. And right now today, like 1 hour ago on Star Wars Leaks, this fucking guy, Bespin Bulletin, the Acolyte likely to release Q2 2024. That's what the title should have been, unless you get a cut from the ads. You really have no reason to put the information in the headline instead of forcing a click and making everybody skim an article about a new Patreon page. Number one, you little fucking asshole. The guy has to do that because you guys don't fucking pay him, because you guys copy and paste his fucking articles to Reddit. See, if you guys just want one-stop shop people who come by every now and then and be like, I got some information, don't know if you can trust me, post, and then you don't know if it's real and they go away. That's the future of Reddit. If you don't support the people who actually fucking do the leaking, who do the work.
Has Lucas bought back Star Wars yet?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Are they just disavowing that fucking shit? They're just pretending they never ran with that for 2 weeks.
Right. And then one of the only logical people in that whole subreddit, Legal Eagle 1992, says, I understand the need for brevity in headlines, but it is not reasonable. But is it not reasonable to click through a sites as a courtesy for their work? The dude's got to make a living, and I don't think it's fair to disparage or shame him for promoting his own content in the article. And it's like, yeah, exactly. Like,
I love that legal show on YouTube. Good guy.
Yeah, that is a good show, right?
Pays his people.
Yeah, then Azatru says, how would you feel if you spent a lot of time, effort, and money only to have your work stolen without anything in return? He's the most reliable leaker we have. Hey, fuck you, Azatru. And yet the sub
who's not a Jehovah's. Oh, I can't say that.
No. Fans elsewhere, Twitter, have no attention span or decency. Azatru's right. You'd rather read it misquoted by Star Wars stuff, pop culture crave, or whatever Twitter account that leeches off him. Support an independent fan. But no doubt the same type a person will click on the Hollywood Trades link who are running propaganda for the studios during the strike. Also fucking true. You know what I mean? Like, also very, very true. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Ben. I appreciate it, man. A lot. You're the best, dude. Go put money, and then this guy's all, go put money in their Patreon then. And Azatru's like, I do. Like, Azatru has always been fucking supportive of other content creators. So anyways, yeah, it just goes on. And then like there's somebody in there trying to go to the joke, MSW is more reliable. No, we're the same. He's not more or less reliable, and that's not the point. If the point is reliability, then where's the support here? But at the end of the day, it just ends up where like a lot is at risk with what's going on in this whole strike thing, because all of these like other outlets and stuff, they're all going to. I don't know what's going on with them, but they got to be suffering. If me and Bespin are feeling this like this, then it's got to be bad. Well,
Jason, I told you, man, the future of the show is not making Star Wars. It's making up Star Wars. We just got to make up shit. Like that's the future, right? Well, we could be rolling in dough here if we just go along with making up stuff. I got impressions and we got creativity, and some of us are good at lying.
If only I can make making up stuff synonymous with theory. Huh. All right. So, thank you for the super chat, Thomas. That's a good idea. I appreciate it, Thomas. You're the best, dude. Thank you for the support, you guys. And once again,
also, the people, people
in this chat have always been supportive of us. So it's not like
what I mean. Not everyone in that chat. I've had my issues. Let's say today, right? Let's say today, right? Today you're doing well.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for the super chat, Mike. Appreciate it, man. But yeah. So it's like I don't know. So right now I'm trying to figure out what to do with my life. You know what I mean? Outside of this stuff, I'll always do this to some extent because I love doing it. I love like hanging out with all of our Star Wars friends and talking about Star Wars. I mean, that's ultimately why, even when it's not making anything, we still do it. It's why Bespin still does it, even though shouldn't. Thank you for the super chat, Pete. It says, not much, but I appreciate you, bro. Sucks to hear about the struggle. You always provide good insight and present info from a grounded point of view. I really do try, and that's one of the things I would say about myself and Bespin is we always try. Savage says more UFO shows. Yeah, we could definitely do one on what's going on, but I'll be honest with you, that stuff that's going on right now with the UFO stuff,
it's bullshit.
It's not buying it. I think it's a grift.
It's a grift.
Man,
I got into this. My buddy who's recently retired from the Air Force, but he's still he's a civilian DOD dude now,
Yeah.
And he's trying to come at me with no, I'm just and I just start shooting it down, this doesn't make sense. That don't make sense. And you can't be a whistleblower and not be whistleblowing. I can't say because I'd be breaking the law. It's what are we doing here? What is this? This is the weirdest thing. Meanwhile, when people actually whistleblow, they put them in jail forever, Well, for nothing,
Yeah, I mean, just to give a preview of what our UFO show will be on that. Everything is anecdotal. Every single part about that has been an anecdotal
Right.
piece of news. So therefore, like they're like, you can't lie to Congress. Well, when you're saying somebody told me somebody said something, there's not really a lot of culpability for that. There's not really like a lot of responsibility for that,
And they lie in Congress every week.
All the time, of course.
Like on CNN, Congress lies to Congress. Jim Jordan alone. Mark met everyone in these.
Yeah.
They lie all the time. What are you talking about?
No, all the time. But I mean, when you're going at, but to honor the perspective of the person who thinks that, it's like this person would lie and put themselves in jeopardy. But look at how they're doing it. They're not saying like, I saw this stuff firsthand. This is my information. Somebody told me they dealt with the body. Pilots told me, who may or may not be coked out, by the way, too. A lot of pilots are on amphetamines when they fly. It's just, that is the truth too.
Yeah, sadly, so is James Horner.
Oh no!
I know.
Willow,
it breaks my heart, dude. Breaks my heart. But we got a subpar Avatar score because of that. Well, and we lost a fantastic person, but whatever.
I got Metallica and Willow because of that. So save your little violins, buddy. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. I'm kidding. But look, I'm not picking on him. But it's the difference between Jeff Snyder and his actual context, and then Roka chiming in and saying he has quote unquote sources told him something, like we know from his comfy pad in San Diego. And Snyder laughs. Your sources. I mean, this is on her own show. It's not like I'm conjecturing here.
Yeah.
Like, what? So like, my whole thing, man, is I was watching that guy did that. I'm not a big fan of body language experts, but I'm like, the guy did that with him, and I'm like, why not? I had to put something on because I'm working my ass off right now. I put it on because he also did the James Cameron one. I'm like, I'll put these two on and that'll kill an hour. But then like, I'm just listening to the interview this dude did with the news interview he did, the 60 Minutes or whatever that was. And then somewhere at the very end, Jason, he just starts talking about Waco. And I brought this up. I'm like, look, man, he starts bringing up Waco. Then my military friend goes, well, I mean, and I'm like, no. Look, let me give you some context, right? It would be like, Waco was 30 years ago, man. Like it would be like during the Phoenix Lights, right? It would be like during the Phoenix Lights, someone's interviewing about how they saw the Phoenix Lights. Oh, and by the way, Kent State.
Well, no. Here's what that is, Rob. Is if you've like, one of the things I've paid attention to, with the UFO news over the last year, has been like, it starts with Marco Rubio. And you kind of move out from there. And like, so what you really have is you have UFO devotees, people who believe in it, whether they should or not. And then you have Republicans that are pushing the concept that you can't trust the government, that they're hiding all this stuff from you. And so
that's what I told him. I said they're trying to push a narrative of we can't trust the government. It needs to be dismantled. They have no interest in bettering or furthering knowledge. They're literally trying to tell people in Florida that slavery was okay. And this is not their, like, come on, man.
I'm saying this like literally apolitically. Like I could be a right winger, and this is what it is. You can see the difference between right wing outlets who cover the UFO stuff, Tucker Carlson and the likes, and then the left-wing stuff who don't really cover it. Now, has it been covered? I'm not saying it has. If you want, actually, Young Turks did a video. Yeah, they did. I don't care. That's not my point. My point is, like, how has it been for the last, like, since the pandemic, when we really hit the UFO like surge up? And as I was really interested in all this stuff, I followed everybody. I followed every single thing Elizondo said, and and now I'm to the point where, after having heard everything that they have to say, I don't believe them. I think
I never bought into Elizondo, man.
Yeah, I think they're and I was like, you know what? They have more credibility than, some crazy lady, you know what I mean, who's has a secret source on an HBO documentary or some shit. So I was like, okay, I'll hear what they have to say. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, okay, is this going somewhere? Is this actually it? And over time, it's like, when you just see how they're all involved, and that current leaker, the quote whistleblower, they were at UFO conventions with with George Knapp and Elizondo. Those photos of No, I'm sorry, but if you were a real whistleblower afraid of being assassinated, the last place you would go was a UFO convention, because that would literally be, why would you be there? You know what I mean? Like, they would kill you if that was real, if that's what you were really afraid of, if that reality was real. So anyways, without making this a UFO show, that's kind of like where I'm at on it. I don't, whenever you hear anything and it's like, wow, that's amazing, look at it and just go, is it anecdotal? If it's anecdotal, throw it over your shoulder, because you know what? After 75 years, we have enough anecdotes. We need actual evidence. And one last thing, the Go Fast video that I keep seeing was always brought up in all that stuff isn't going fast at all. It's going about 30 miles per hour. Therefore, it could literally be a balloon. It could be literally anything in the sky. Not amazing.
Yeah, and every UFO channel that's popped up, from Chris Lito on down, since the last 4 years, have all turned into like Bitcoin, support me on Web3, every one of them, And so it's
that's what I should be doing. I'd be rich right now. I'd be like, Bitcoin.
Here's a conspiracy theory. I believe it, right? And I can't prove it, but this is the one I believe in. It concerns JFK, right? Let's just get into this, right? Mm-hmm. I believe in the theory that Oswald was up there. Oswald shot. Oswald just had a chicken dinner and a Coke, and he wasn't going to fucking hit Kennedy. I mean, I don't know, folks. We tend to not drink caffeine and food before we go to the training range for obvious, reasons. Throws off your aim.
Well, the Secret Service,
and then the Secret Service,
about, it was
they don't know what I'm talking about. I know, but let me tell the story.
Yeah.
Right. And so the Secret Service returns fire because it was really obvious. It's a small area. You know where the shit's coming from. So generally speaking, okay, especially if you're in the middle of ground zero, if you're in the middle of a triangulation, they fire back and inadvertently with an AR-15 of all things, pop Kennedy in the head. And that would be the one from the front where he goes back. And it's the only reason that explains, Jason, why they hid the bullet. You know what I mean? Why they flipped out bullets and then they changed their protocol about AR-15s. Now, I don't know about you, but after the president of the United States is shot and murdered in the 60s, right? With the wave of communism, we're on the verge of Vietnam, all this other stuff, civil rights movements. Why would why would the Secret Service change their protocol? They would arm up. You know what I
mean? So that, on that one right there, that Secret Service agent was using an AR-15. It was his first day. When the shot fired, the little convoy chugged. They think the bullet, they think the gun went off at that point. The guy shoots Kennedy in the back of the head. And
which is why they say if they right, it makes magic bullet. And it also explains why they would continue to not admit that for 60-something years, right? Because no government wants to admit they accidentally killed their own president, right?
No, you don't. That seems really incompetent. And thank you guys for the super chats today. Aria gave 50 Donkey Kong bucks. Says, but Jason, Bob can't, which means Rob can't eat McDonald's with a 22M a year doing nothing. He's a victim in all this. And then, that's true. That's true. Thank you, Comics Ben. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate it, dude. Paul gave us $5 super chat. And Patrick
thanks, Paul.
Gave 20 pounds. Thank you, Patrick. You're awesome, dude. Always appreciated. And damn, Oppenheimer was outstanding. I did. I got together with Bestman Bulletin last night, and we did a Barbenheimer podcast for his podcast, for the Bob podcast. And I don't know if it's out yet. It's either out now or it's coming out. It's about to come out right now. So we went over some of the Star Wars news that he had to hit on his podcast, and then we talked about Barbie and Oppenheimer. Have you seen either of them yet?
No, but I heard about the sex scene. Are you going to yell that out next time you're in full coitus?
Which one? Which one?
The Oppenheimer. I am the destroyer.
Worlds? Yeah, I become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Yeah.
You shouldn't give me ideas because you know I'll do it. I will do it.
Some lucky ladies, or a person, you never know.
All right, let's get to some of that Star Wars news that we have. So this is from bestmanbulletin.com. And once again, man, I get people that are like, hey, I get tired of being pitched money and all that kind of stuff. But if you read bestmanbulletin.com, give them $1 a month. I mean, like all of this stuff, it's just not free. You know what I mean? And
I'm on the show. I pay Jason and Bestman.
Yeah,
so then what's your fucking excuse? You know what I mean? I bring actual. Well, I mean, I wouldn't call it content, but you know what I mean.
What we're saying is, what Rob's saying is, if you pay enough, you can just be the co-host of the show. We'll just do it. You know what I mean? Like, sorry,
yeah.
You know?
someone else can do the Filoni for an hour a day.
Did we get your Comic-Con announcement like all the way out there now? Is that stuff like all out?
Oh yeah, it's announced. Yeah.
Tell people on the show who might not be reading X anymore what happened, because they might not know.
Oh, so I have a comic book coming out next year. We don't have a date yet. It's a Spawn comic book from Todd McFarlane called Spawn Kills Every Spawn. Spawn Kills Every Spawn. Let me see if I can quickly bring up some cover art here. But basically, there's these humorous books he's done for years called Spawn Kills Everyone, and I'll be doing it's sort of like a soft reboot in a way. I've just sort of changed the look of everything. So it's kind of like it's like a little chibi Spawn who goes on a killing rampage to kill all the real Spawns, because he's like jealous and shit, So it'll be see, this kind of Invader Zim-ish, in a way, a little bit. But John Layman, the writer John Layman, he's been around for years, man. He's super good. He's gonna be writing, and then I'm drawing covers and interiors.
Man, he's not lame.
Oh yeah, he's never heard that joke before. Never heard that.
I wrote it. I'm a time traveler.
Let me see if I can share really quick, and I'll give you a show, and then I'll put a link, and then whatever, really quick settings.
Yeah, with I don't know if it gets you in trouble or not, but I've seen a couple of the things that you've done before, and the shit's amazing. I was like, this guy actually has talent. Who would have thought? I mean that's
yeah. Can you see this?
Let's
see if you can go in.
It's loading up right now.
All right, there we go. That's Photoshop, right? So that's the cover art to issue 1. Spawn Kills Every Spawn. So. And what's really cool, man, is look, man, I'm a huge Spawn fan. Like when I say I'm a huge Spawn fan, I mean I was at Comic-Con in 1992 when Image started. That was actually my introduction to all of that, So I didn't get on a Spider-Man until after the fact. But so I got the first 150 issues of Spawn straight up, and then until they moved into a realistic thing, and then I was like, not my thing. But they're all right here. I'm even in issue 45. The minute they opened up spawn.com, I went and gave them an email under my AOL address, Robin586, right? Because I had a 586 PC at the time, right?
Yeah.
So I'm in issue 45.
You think you're better than me?
Right? I was complaining to them about not having Sam and Twitch figures. And then that's when they announced the Sam and Twitch figures. So I brought that up to Todd. But what's fun, though, is I always wanted Spawn to have a bat, like a little buddy, right? Because Todd always likes to call people buddies, so I made a character called Buddy. Look, there's his buddy. This is little buddy will help him murder everything. So then, he just murders Spawn. So it'll be a fun, humorous book, dude.
Badass, dude. Looks good.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have had to be all secretive about it over the last year or whatever. But whenever you've from time to time heard Rob clicking and the little strokes of his pen, that's what he was doing on the show this whole time. When he's been Force Ghost Rob because we can't see what he's doing, that's
let me tell you this, folks.
Or he's just nude. I don't know, maybe.
I've put enough Easter eggs in this book that the first page of issue 3 will have almost every major Indiana Jones Easter egg shoved into one panel. Yeah, and it all still works. It's all still Spanish. So, I know if it ain't your thing, there you go. But
yeah,
I'll tell you what, people I went to high school with were at that panel. And they were like, what? My name of we're like, is that because they knew how I dug McFarlane and Spawn and all that shit back in the day, I had an ex-girlfriend get a hold of me, the one who was with me in high school. He was like, oh my God, so yeah. Thanks, Brandon.
Yeah. So Brandon said, Rob, that Spawn cover looks awesome. So
Yeah, wait till you see 2 and 3. That was my easy cover. I was being easy on the colors.
Yeah. There's some stuff coming if I've heard correctly that I don't know. It makes Where's Waldo look like a very simple little quaint drawing where you could automatically see Waldo. It's like your stuff looks really great, man. And like I'm glad that you finally got like that moment where you got to say what you were working on, because I'm a spoiler guy and I was just like, come on, man. Tell us.
And all 5 issues will be done by the time this thing ships, so you'll be able to pick it up every month for 5 months straight, you know. So
nice. All right, let's go to the Star Wars news for the people.
All right.
Let's bring it to the people. And any Spawn questions you can ask, go and ask him. I don't care. I think it's cool.
Well, I'll be drawing. I'm not gonna be seeing the chat. You'll have to bring it up.
Okay. Star Wars Lando writer thinks he's still attached to the series. This is from BestmanBulletin.com. You can support on Patreon or give a copy. Yes, this is exactly where the story is. Star Wars Lando writer thinks he's still attached to the series, but is unsure. Questions projects not happening due to his race and sexuality. And then a nice little picture of Lando. Yeah, so here we go. And once again, that's probably why that guy got mad. Because Lando's a big old bisexual. Or is he bisexual? I think he's bisexual. He
thought he was robosexual.
Yeah, I guess that makes him pansexual. Robosexual.
Pansex, because they're cans, right?
Yeah.
Like,
which also I found interesting that the conversation about that over the last like couple of years has been all about like arguing pansexuality and being angry about that. But one of the things I think that you could argue is you do have another instance of a black man who is being hypersexualized now. Now, Lando's always been a little bit flirtatious, so I kind of that comes with the trope. But there you go. I'm not making an argument for one way or the other.
Meanwhile, guys in Japan are marrying their pillows. So
hey, some of those pillows want it hard though. You know,
maybe that My Pillow guy could pivot.
Would explain a lot.
I don't know why we're waiting with that.
I'm just. I mean. Can you draw me a Spawn pillow with some? No. Anyways, it's been close to 3 years since the Lando series was first announced. I don't want to get you in trouble with the drop, so I stopped.
I will.
But there's been no real updates on the project since. Writer of Lando, Justin Simeon, has now provided an update, and you can support Bestman on Patreon and Coffee. Justin Simeon, the writer of Lando, who's probably best known for writing Netflix's Dear White People, and directed Disney's Haunted Mansion, starring Rosario Dawson, which, by the way, was a Disney Plus movie. You might not want to spend your cash on that one. Up to you. But I have a theory that they are releasing it now this summer. That way, it will be on Disney Plus for Halloween, which is the original intention. I think it's just a double dip, to be honest with you guys. And from what we're hearing about the movie, I don't think it's worth seeing. But if you do see it and it's good, let me know, because I would love for there to be a good Haunted Mansion movie. You know, I would love for that.
Well, it's a real shame because do you know who was trying to make that movie at Disney for years? Guillermo del Toro. Guillermo del Toro. Like when he wanted the Hatbox Ghost, to be the main villain, which sort of looked like that by the trailer, but by way of like Casper the Friendly Ghost from 1994, right? The Casper movie.
Yeah, I just
feels
I
more
just
like that.
Whoa, Conchu. Thank you so much, buddy. That is well above the Call of Duty, man. Thank you so much. Conchu66 gave $399 super chat, Canadian.
What?
I appreciate that, man. You are a fucking saint, dude. Thank you so much.
Now he's asked to be the host of the show, right? Like that's more than you make.
When do you want me to remove Rob now? Are you coming? Are you moving into the show today?
Or I could get a lot more work done if you at least an hour's worth more.
Oh man, thank you so much. That is so nice. I really, really appreciate that a lot. Beyond the Call of Duty, thank you so much. So anyway, back to the Lando thing. Do not see that movie. If you see it, let me know if it's good. Let me know if it's our cup of tea. I'm of the opinion that if you were to ever do a Haunted Mansion movie, should be Victorian horror / Hammer horror tribute film.
The
That's
look of Crimson Peak that Guillermo
yes.
did. The look of that, right?
Yeah.
With the puppetry of like remember in the first Ghostbusters movie, like the taxi driver skeleton, you know what I mean? Like the kind of taxi driver skeleton I thought was great.
Yeah. And I like I'm not a huge Del Toro fan, like overall. Not that I don't like his stuff. I've just never loved the stuff. But that last Pinocchio film was the first movie he did where I'm like, I really love this Pinocchio film.
What if
like,
he had done it stop motion?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, if he had done it stop motion, or if he had just done all of the ghost stop motion. There was so many creative ways of getting at it. But just a heads up to everyone. My daughter's seen the trailer. I think I am going to be roped into probably having to take her to see it.
Oh yeah.
You know, and
I told you this movie would be huge in 1995. You know what I mean? Like, would have been the biggest thing at Blockbuster that year.
Would have been a good follow up to the Nightmare on Christmas, kind of like Nightmare Before Christmas. Sort of like started this like very sanitized goth kid kind of Disney goth kid thing, and then they didn't know what to do with it. That's kind of what happened. But anyways,
they pivoted to 101 Dalmatians.
Oh god, yeah,
they did.
So, Haunted Mansion, starring Rosario Dawson, which releases tomorrow, has spoken with the Hollywood Reporter. So Rosario Dawson spoke to the Hollywood Reporter regarding various topics, and the trade asked the writer-director about the Lando series. So just to be clear, Rosario Dawson, who's playing Ahsoka in a different Star Wars series, is in the Justin Simien directed Haunted Mansion film. Okay, I know it gets a little confusing because of the crossbreeding here. So incestuous. The writer-director of the Lando series, which was announced back in 2020. The conversation with THR comes 10 days after Simien told the Direct that he had not heard an update from Lucasfilm regarding the Lando series since it was announced in December 2020 during Disney's Investors Day, but was told that development was paused before the series was even announced. So I'm sure Bespin's going to go on to say this. I know me and Bespin agree on this. We believe that Donald wasn't signed aboard officially with any, at least like with the intent to be Lando at that point. And then he comes aboard and then it gets shuffled around. Simien was very open during his conversation with THR when asked about the Lando project, with the writer telling the outlet that he believes he's still on board to write Lando, but that he didn't really know, but that Lucasfilm told him that they loved what he had done. Simien once again reiterated that development was paused on this series so that Lucasfilm could figure out everybody's involved's availability. Simien adds that since the announcement and development being paused, he has not investigated the situation further. However, Simien, a gay man of color, questioned projects he's worked on with big studios not coming to fruition due to the color of his skin and his sexuality. He said the following to THR: "I am attached, I think, but I don't really know. The last thing I was told was that they loved it, but needed to put a pin in it until they could figure out everybody's availability. I haven't investigated further, but I'm not an idiot. I'm not alone in that experience. But I can't help but wonder, am I too black? Am I too queer?" You guys could soundbite that if you want to. Am I too black? Am I too queer? And people just want to say that because it seems like I develop things with these companies and they just never happen for reasons unknown. Justin Simien by the
Isn't that 90% of Hollywood though, dude? Like, I mean,
yeah. If you want
Chris McQuarrie literally won a fucking Oscar and couldn't get shit made for 12 years. You know, like so I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but you can't be woke Disney hiring all the gays and the whatevers and simultaneously be against gay Disney. You know what I mean? Who refuses? We only like to pay them and not actually make anything like that. I don't know.
Okay, so like for instance, Tony Gilroy has said these same comments without the "Am I too black? Am I too queer?" Tony Gilroy said, "The best stuff I've written has never even been on screen." But so that's Tony fucking Gilroy, who's a great writer, and But then now imagine Tony Gilroy is black and queer and adding that experience to his work.
If this series were coming out and they had moved on to something else, that'd be one thing. But this series ain't getting made because the main guy just don't want to make it.
See, that's it. And that right there, you very well may be right on that one. Like, but I don't know how to grapple with this concept. Donald Glover is doing the fucking Community movie right now. There's no way you're doing the Community movie. No.
They had to they had to pull strings to get that. That's not fair.
Right.
Like that. He did not want to do that.
But he's doing it. And
right. Well, you do.
And once again,
I show up here for my friends sometimes. Like
yeah. No, I get it. Yeah. Yeah, no, and like that might very well be the situation there, but also there's like so much conjecture involved that I'm only just looking at what it is, and what it is that he's doing the Community movie when there's not a strike. Now they do a lot of improv.
Because he doesn't want to do Star Wars,
and
but he's doing that because he doesn't. If he wanted to do Star Wars, he'd be doing Star Wars right now. Yeah. Like they didn't have any problem fast. I just don't. From everything I've heard, man, like that dude doesn't have a problem getting shit done. It's just I don't want to deal with it.
No.
I just don't think
he's prolific. But also remember, he had the Amazon. He had a lucrative Amazon deal,
Mr. and Mrs. Smith,
and he delivered 2 projects to that while doing Atlanta, while doing a pop career. We don't know the full extent of the Amazon deal. We don't know how many projects he's delivered to Amazon that they passed on that he could have been doing at this time. He's made comments saying, I just want to eat oranges and look at the sun after COVID. I just want to live my best life is essentially what he said. And to some extent, though, how many times have we heard actors related to Star Wars and Star Wars projects dealing with the Disney machine say things like that? Because that's how you negotiate.
Meanwhile, Jason, I have neo-liberalish friends, right? Like they consider themselves liberal, but they're not really. And every now and then they'll pop out with like, man, how come every show that's on Netflix, every new show has to be gay? Like not every news show is gay. What are you talking about? It's in every show. Now, what are you talking about? Even my kid brought it up. I'm like, that doesn't mean anything. I don't know. What specifically are you talking? So I don't.
Maybe right straight people need to be more interesting. I'll just put it that way.
Right now,
yeah.
Openly gay talent has had the best time of getting shit done today, more now than ever before. It doesn't have parity with straight shows by any measure. And real stuff, not like Queer Eye for the Straight, like itchy game show stunts, like so. And the drag queen rate, the Drag Race is like still one of the highest fucking rated watch shows every week, man. When that's out, like I got my friends, they live and die by that show, man. Like, so I don't know. I hear the frustration. The problem I have with this when it's like Disney is literally, they put Malcolm in charge of Black Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You know what I mean? Like Malcolm, go listen to his Malcolm, forget his last name. Go listen to his interviews during Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Like he's a fantastic writer, and like they don't have a problem with that. They just have a problem with hiring people and shelving stuff and not making things. That's what they have a problem with.
Well, yeah, but I could still see his point though. His point is because like the thing about it is when
they
the
could
studio
talk to him.
They could talk. I mean,
yeah. Let's talk about that. They can literally say, if I'm your friend, why don't you just say, man, we really can't do it because might have a little more we can shoot. You know what I mean? Want to get a pizza over it? Like they should stop treating. You got to build relationships. And what I take from this, Jason, I'll let you finish. But what I take away from this is whoever's at top, whether it's Kathleen Kennedy on down, whatever. I don't know I know that Michelle Rejuan left. I don't really know the structure. But whoever is like
about
really
4
managing
other Michelle Rejuans,
Okay, so the Regia Quan, there's a number there. I haven't figured out the number yet. Yeah. So Regia 4, but they aren't building relationships with people. This sounds more like work for hire. This sounds more like in a comic book thing where you turned in a script and then they just didn't make it. You know, and it's like. that's really weird because so much money's on the line for everyone involved. The risk factor is way more than like a comic book. That to alienate, to treat talent like that. I mean, man, there's a reason why they're all on strike, right? Now, I think about it, maybe Justin should be grateful for the shit he got, you know, to quote Bob Iger.
No, yeah, but well, see, the thing is number one, I know a lot of people at Disney, like a lot. You know, Burbank is not very far from my home. I've socialized with people who work at Disney and around Disney my whole life practically. And the company has in its ranks a large gay population. That is actually like true. That's like when the people in Florida get really mad about some gay agenda and stuff like that. It's like to some extent, no, actually, it's just them being the people who they are. And then you not liking that.
I'm sorry if the Budweiser, the full carb Bud people aren't going to fucking theater all the time. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go on a limb and say that the Gator huggers, you know what I mean? Yeah. The Gator wrestlers ain't a big Wicked fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, big time.
Studio makes by and large musicals, you know what I mean, and show theater. Like, what do they want, dude? Like, well, you want it to all be the WWE, which, by the way, let's be honest, that shit, nothing's more gayer, innuendously gayer, that ain't, you know what I mean, than pro wrestling. Like. Yeah. I mean, that's why my gay friends love. The only people I could watch wrestling with was my two gay friends, you know, because they were getting a whole nother thing out of it. I was in it for Bret Hart and Razor Ramon, you know,
and so were they. But sounds like
I was like, they're a little too oily. I don't think so, Rob. I'm like, whatever.
They're just like, it looks good to me, Chico.
But they brought powdered donuts, man. They were always prepared.
No. Yeah, but I mean, like the thing is that a lot of these studios, though, what they will do is they will go out and they will decide, oh, this can be that and this can't be that, or that's not normal, this is not. And so if they don't want that, then they won't go with it. But I think in this instance, though, I think I mean, if you've ever in your life made the argument Rian Johnson's trilogy didn't happen because of controversy. Then you have to see this as the same thing, because
they're certainly afraid of angering a weird fan base for certain. But that fan base isn't just homophobic assholes; it's also those weird Raylo people that want to ship every. And if you don't put their exact soap opera configuration together, they're going to burn the whole place down. Like, what is that? Like what is?
No, it's definitely true. I will give the left, the right, and the apolitical all the same amount of crazy points today. they all get it. They're all a little bit insane. And so I could see, like I said, I could see where he's coming from, but at the same time, you're right. It's a industry that is generally just broken, and most things don't get made. And but also, you know, you do have to ask, like, you know, when you don't.
When a movie, like the studio is the studio, you know, and if the studio, I mean, Kathleen Kennedy doesn't seem to have an agenda against putting people of color or of different sexual status in charge of things. So then you're saying Disney,
that's profitable to them. That's why they do it.
Then they gave them a whole movie, and they bumped the movie up from Disney Plus to theatrical, which, you know what I mean? Like, that's, I don't know. It's just. I don't know, Jess. This is a weird time to bring this one up. You know, like, it's just, you're in a weird position to do. I think what's more in line was when what's her face? She was on The Office, and then she went to, was it Parks and Rec? She was on the writing staff for Toy Story 4, and then she left because of the weirdness with women at Pixar. You know, when Lasseter was still around. You know, like, I get that. That seems I'm just not seeing the consistency in this.
But if I was a black man in the United States at his age, especially black gay man, gay man or black man, both, I think it's fair to question why things don't happen for you or do happen to you and stuff like that. Fair enough. Considering just like probably your experience at fucking Sizzler or something. You know what I mean? Like,
and by the way,
it's, you know,
in my opinion, the best black gay man ever put in the film was Hooper in Chasing Amy. I'm a minority of a minority.
Yeah, we can see.
Shut up, Comic-Con.
Yeah. So, okay, Scott, thank you for the super chat. Scott says, nice to see stuff like Mission Impossible and NDC post Barbenheimer boost this week at the daily box office. Oh, I didn't know that. 3.5 million for Mission Impossible on a Tuesday. Wildest weekend in theaters since 2008 or so. And thank you for the super chat.
Talk about this
Scott.
for a second. We can segue into this. So we'll continue with. But Bespin's article will go through the whole show, dude, no doubt.
Yeah.
But I've had some thoughts on this since we took a week off. You know, like Barbenheimer. I told you that could be their highest grossing film of the year, right? Just by the way, a lot of my female friends were like chatting about it. I'm like, I haven't seen this much chatter since the first Hunger Games movie. You know, like. So I was like, someone over there is doing something right. And then at the theater, they had that standee where you could stand in like a Barbie figure. And I was like, that's such a genius move. Why didn't they do that for G.I. Joe? Why didn't they do that for Star Wars? Star Wars especially.
They actually do that for Star Wars at cons officially.
But at movie theaters though.
No, and that's where I'm going with this. It's not like the idea never occurred to anybody, you know?
Right.
So whoever was pitching that at Disney for Star Wars and was getting shot down over the last couple of years, definitely should be listened to more. And they probably could have got Hasbro to pay for it on top of it. Just think about it.
But this is going to segue into my one criticism. I have like two criticisms of the movie of Mission Impossible. I've seen it 8 times now because there's 8 Mission Impossible movies. That's how many times I have to see the film. And I have. Yeah. Legally, all in the theaters. So do with that what you will. For those late showings, man. But so the last Mission Impossible movie, Fallout, they had this thing happen where Henry Cavill decided to pump up his guns, right? Pump up his arms, right? Lock and load him before he hit a dude. And that memed its way across the internet. Like it caught on with the kiddies, you know? And they ended up doing like, what, 750 million? I think it was like the most they've ever done for Mission Impossible movie. And now McQuarrie is not a guy to like try to, Henry did that on his own volition on set. No one planned for that. He's not a guy to go, we need a memeable moment for this movie, right? It's not how he operates. So much so to the fact that the look of Fallout, in my opinion, is one of the best looking films ever made. Like takes that Dark Knight look and pushes it forward with color. It adds a high-tech 1960s feel. And they didn't keep that DP on this film. And McQuarrie has said it's because he wanted each one of his films to reflect the tone of the script. And I hear all that, but I'm like, but could you have done 3 movies with that look and then change it? You know, like you had a look and everyone loved it. Why give it up so quickly? But whatever. But the complaint I have is that the movie centers around a villain that was there in the 90s and sort of set up Ethan Hunt for his whole adventure. And the way McQuarrie tends to develop characters is they don't write a script. They get an actor and the character comes from the actor. And I'm like, no offense to Esai Morales, who does a good job. I mean, he'd be fine in any Star Wars or Batman movie or whatever. And he does a good job in this one. But like, no kid's getting excited about Esai Morales fighting Ethan Hunt. And if you're going to say that the main villain of the film was there in the 90s, maybe you find an actor who was around in the 90s. Like, I don't know, Keanu Reeves. Like, if John Wick were fighting Ethan Hunt, you would have had memes galore, bro. If Hugh Jackman were fighting Ethan Hunt, you would have had Wolverine versus Ethan Hunt, right? Even Brad Pitt, because there's a vampire reference in this movie. Even if, you know, like, that would have been something. Now, I personally would have gone with Keanu Reeves. Now, if they don't do that, then I got a fun stunt cast for you, buddy. You're going to laugh when I say it, but if you think about it,
are you going to see Darth Revan? You're going to see Darth Revan?
No, Ralph Macchio. Right? Because what's the number one stream film on the stream show on Netflix? Karate Kid. And
Johnny,
Ralph Macchio or Keanu Reeves.
Give us Johnny.
But he's already a bad guy. But Ralph Macchio, the guy's name is Gabriel, like an angel. That kid don't age. So, you know what I mean? You could like, he can't age. And it would have been, Bruce Willis is out physically. He can't do anything, man. Sorry, you know.
Yeah.
But my point is Keanu Reeves. And if you look at Esai Morales' performance and you just pretend Keanu Reeves, you get the same inflection. There's just not much of a difference. Yeah. So that is like the thing. And I know this because I have a younger friend. He's like Azur's age. And I was talking about the movie, and he goes, "Hey man, who's the villain? Who's the villain?" And I'm like, I don't really, it doesn't really, that's not the point, because the villain really isn't that guy, but it kind of is. So when you don't have that, it is, but they had to do two things: show what the AI could do to someone, which is how you get the opening, and then two, make a physical representation of that AI in the real world. Otherwise, it's just you're just talking about a villain. There has to be something there, and I think. And like, so when you have that, it's not the movie's great. You go look at the fucking reviews, but in the wake of this Barbie Oppenheimer meme, you just get drowned out, right? There's no way this isn't like so much a memeable movie. Like this Barbenheimer thing, it's literally an ice bucket challenge now. People are like, I took the Oppenheimer challenge. I survived Oppenheimer. Like that is the meme stock going around, so like you're not going to be able to replicate that again. Like even if it wasn't Oppenheimer, it was Barbin. What are they going to do with Barbie 2? Barbin Lego? Like it's not going to, it's not. It's like,
well, they're going to try
J-Lo,
and it's going to be cringy. They're going to try to replicate it, and it's going to be cringy. I mean,
correct.
That's the one thing that it proves, though, and that what Scott is mentioning here is that, like, when it comes to movies, not everything in life, regardless of what economists want you to think, but at the movies especially, a rising tide does lift all boats. When because it has to do with consumer habits, it has to do with socializing, it has to do with showing up to a theater and going, oh, Mission Impossible is packed, I'm going to go see Indiana Jones because I don't want to sit next to this kid right here, and stuff like that. Like it that ends up, that's how Hollywood works. Counter programming works, all that kind of stuff. And so it's been a tumultuous summer, regardless, however you want to look at it. Like people got murdered, studios got murdered releasing films this year, and they've made money and they've lost a lot of money.
Even if it had been Christian Bale, you could have got that Batman meme stock, going. But
that wouldn't have worked though. I always say that, like that movie just wasn't going to work. Unfortunately, it came too late. And Michael Keaton's Batman, you need an Obi-Wan Kenobi. And
I'm talking about Mission Impossible, like the casting for Mission Impossible. Flash isn't going to work because their generation don't like their Flash. It's just that simple. Like,
sure. I mean, that has a lot to do with it, but it's like people always say Christian Bale's Batman should have been the Batman in that movie. And I'm like, Christian Bale doesn't look like Obi-Wan Kenobi, just like Ewan McGregor doesn't look like old Obi-Wan Kenobi still. Like it doesn't work as the old Merlin, and that's what they do. By the way, when you guys see Oppenheimer, if you haven't seen it, he looks like fucking emaciated Michael Keaton. I just couldn't get over it. When you're watching it, you start to he looks like Michael Keaton's like skinny brother. It's wild. I never saw him like that, and as I was watching it, I just kept seeing it. But anyways, point being is, I think I've seen the majority of the movies this summer, and it's been a great summer. It's been like this. It's weird because there's a bunch of movies from '89, but it's probably my favorite summer since '89 in totality.
Well, I stand by the look and feel, though. The look and feel of Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1, it to me is extremely similar to Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Like it feels like a modern day version of a 1989 film. And now I'm not being negative about that. Like it has, he did Corey did a brief interview with the Q&A, like a 30-minute one, because he couldn't speak as a writer and all this other stuff. But he did say that tonally he wants to go for emotion in the way, in his words, not mine, in the way that young Spielberg and young Lucas did, where they put the emotion on your sleeve kind of bit, Yeah. And I find that fascinating because when you see, he's older than us, man, this Macquarie. And when Spielberg and Lucas got to that age, that was the last thing they were going for, So he's kind of going, he's like Benjamin Buttoning, you know what I mean? Like in a way, like he's gone. So certainly interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. But like I said, this summer though, has just been great. The Turtles reviews came out today and they're positive, overwhelmingly positive. Good. So I think Turtles will probably close out my summer to some extent,
Turtles should take a $300 million box office as a colossal win, by the way.
Oh yeah,
because so did the first Spider-Verse did 300 million. You know what I mean? Like that's all I'm saying.
Well, and like you texted me that they got the like sequel is already in the works, so they are doing that thing where they're growing this just like Spider-Verse did, which is what they should be doing, and the right way to like take this. And Spider-Verse will be wrapping up in theory. For all we know, there's gonna be 10 more, but this trilogy is supposed to wrap up with that. And so as we move like forward, if they don't go directly into making more Spider-Verse films, Turtles can sort of carry on what Spider-Verse started for a whole generation. My son says Spider-Verse is the best movie of the summer. He's seen them all.
It's my second favorite. I like Mission Impossible the most, and then Spider-Verse second, and only because Mission Impossible doesn't need a multiverse and a 700 million Spider-Mans to get the job done, right? So like we can move away from that. I would say this though, if there's anything I would fear about the success of Spider-Verse, in the way it kind of like parallels the success of the first two Nolan Batman films, right? After you do The Dark Knight, very difficult to top that, and very difficult to keep that train rolling even beyond a third film, let alone a third film. Sometimes. They get this pressure like they have to outdo themselves, and that's the thing. Like if Turtles constantly aims for a solid B+, A-, you can hit that every time. But if you're like, greatest thing changed my life, it's just impossible. Could you imagine making 3 Shawshank Redemptions?
Yeah. Like when it comes to like Turtles, like when they move forward with the sequel. It needs to be as fun and top the fun of the first one. It doesn't need to be modeled after Othello or something. That's where you will lose your audience. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Did you say Othello? You said Othello.
I said Othello. Yeah, I was imagining like.
Oh well, that's kind of funny because the prequels are going to be more like Othello.
I was imagining like Michelangelo, he gets a human girlfriend and it goes from there.
Well, he gets a human girlfriend, loses his hand, takes over the galaxy, cries about it, endlessly won't shut up. Yeah, gets his pee-pee lopped off. Yeah, burnt right off. Yeah.
Hey, Dan, I almost called you Santa. I miss you, Santa. George.
Well, we both dodged taxes, so we're good.
Oh, what? Yeah. Tom gave a $10 super chat. Thank you, Tom. Tom says, nice to have you guys back on my TV. Having you guys on makes my work afternoon go so much faster. Oh, thanks, dude. I appreciate that, man.
I donate, but I bought Star Wars, so I don't really have a lot money flying around now.
On that last article, by the way, that last Lando article, you could read the full thing at bestmanbulletin.com to get like the rest of his thoughts, which we've gone over it before. So we're gonna move on to his exclusive. And this is an exclusive that he's been laying this out for like a little bit, and people have been overlooking it. But he's actually like dropped the breadcrumbs of this, and now we're to a point where he, I believe, has enough backing on it that we're like, okay, like this is really supposed to be the intention. And it's still a weird time in Hollywood, you guys. For the record, it's still like a weird time in Hollywood. They were supposed to have filmed the Hever Castle Naboo stuff for Andor. It didn't happen. They can't get the actors out there. We'll end up getting to that article, but everything is falling apart right now in Hollywood. It just is the way that it is. But I am of the opinion that they're going to spread these shows around. I don't know if the release dates are going to all pan out or not. I would not be surprised if we see, like I said, everything sort of just moved out and given its own space, which in a way I'm okay with, So exclusive to bestmanbulletin.com, not making Star Wars. Star Wars Acolyte's release window. Okay. So we're still a ways out from the release of the live action Star Wars series, The Acolyte, but we may know its release window. Do you ever have a family member who was old who said window?
I say tomatoes, and I got friends who hate me for it.
Oh my God. So. My daughter, who was just in the room right now, who just walked out, she heard tomato and she likes it better than tomato. And she prefers to say it that way. And I'm like, you guys.
I'm basil. I like basil.
You guys are crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. This is bestmanbulletin.org. Over the course of a number of months, I've heard on various occasions, including very recently, that the Leslie Headland created series, The Acolyte, is aiming to release sometime in the second quarter of next year, which runs from April 1st to June 30th. I've not heard a specific date, nor have I even heard of a specific month. But I'm sure many will assume a May release, giving Star Wars' long-standing connection with that month. But I cannot comment on that speculation at this time. Perhaps the release window will become more clear to me as the year progresses, and I'll be sure to update readers. Disney and Lucasfilm showcased a trailer for the Acolyte at Star Wars Celebration in April, and Disney's upfront event in May, which confirmed a vague 2024 release. And the trailer is yet to release publicly. Of course, I must state that the second quarter release window I've heard of might not be set in stone, with the film and television industries currently in the midst of two strikes, one from the WGA and the other from the SAG, the SAG, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists. The WGA has been striking since May, and SAG-AFTRA began their strike earlier this month. Some of the biggest sticking points for the SAG-AFTRA and WGA members is the use of artificial intelligence, base pay safeguards, and streaming service residuals. And I think we're all a little bored about talking about the strike and its details, about what it is, because
we've been talking about it longer than anyone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think Bespin and I were well ahead of the curve on that, and saw it coming. Some stuff I didn't see coming, though. You know what I mean? Like I didn't see it affecting my side gigs. That I didn't see. I should have, thinking back on it now. But in my mind,
consequences.
Well, in my mind, it was like they're not going to be able to write, and that's just where I put it. But it's not able to write for Struck Studios. That's you know what I mean, for signatures or whatever. So, anyways,
saying Mark Bedard took all your jobs. Damn it,
just
Mark.
yesterday.
Damn it, Mark.
SAG shared that they were ready to go back to the bargaining table with the Hollywood studios, being represented by the AMPTP. The last part should stand for toilet paper. But they had declined. Disney CEO Bob Iger, who recently extended his contract. I am Igor.
I am Bob Igor.
The Kennedy spanked me and I won't fire you. Who recently extended his contract with this company and is looking to potentially earn $27 million fucking dollars this year. Previously said that both SAG and after the WGA were being unrealistic in regards to their demands. There's a level
you got
of
a bonus for canceling Galactic Starship Days.
He got a bonus. He got a bonus for firing the person he hired to do his job and then coming in to take his place, basically.
Yeah.
Like his recommendation.
It's pretty baller, though.
I mean,
I'm not rooting for him, but it's pretty good.
Like I said, we're so fucking stupid in this world. The fact that we just think, you know what I mean? It's just like, I heard some shit the other day.
Hassan Piker was going off. Hassan Piker was going off about this. He's like, look, in a perfect world, if these CEOs were actually doing their job, there'd be no need for organized labor. When they would just hand out the profits and make everyone happy and, collect their $13 million bonus. You know what I mean? Not their $20 million. Well, that's just the world we live in.
I heard the guy from Home Depot saying, if people would just spread the wealth around like me. It's like, you mean like murdering mom and pop hardware stores until there are none and then hiring them back to work in the same jobs?
That guy,
it's like, that's a fucking piece of
shit. I fucking hate that motherfucker. And his stupid veterans fucking parking. Yeah, I'm a fucking veteran. And I'm like, yo, man, this is not the point of being a volunteer fucking soldier is not to run around and create an elite status class that we all get bowed upon. That's fascism, dude. Like, that's not a fucking volunteer democratic fucking military. That's a fashion where you got to, I got to get special this and special that and that. It's like, no, man, the government needs to take care of the injuries it caused you for certain, mental or physical. But Home Depot ripping out a spot in the front that an elderly person, who is a conscientious objector who can barely fucking walk. Like, I know you take, lady, please, you take this. I don't need the spot. Seriously,
A buddy of mine was sent to Afghanistan and was a sniper. Was a sniper for the U.S. military. I think the Army. I think it's the Army. And sorry, I'm not good with that stuff. But would fire the gun on one side and is pretty much deaf in that ear now. And it took him almost 8 years to get like the hearing aids and the compensation and the things that we owe him as like a society for what he did, right? Whether you agree with it or not. But that's what he did because they told him to. And it's just really.
But my dad had the same problem in Vietnam. Sad. He was on one of those destroyers or battleships right before they decommissioned them, like the onset of the war and shit. And he had those cannons going off and couldn't hear out the left side of his ear, and they wouldn't give him a check for nothing, but Home Depot's giving you a spot out in the front. Well, this guy doesn't pay his employees who used to be veterans. You know what I mean?
It's giving him a spot out the front so he could buy stuff.
Right. So you can buy stuff.
Pat himself on the back.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And my dad finally lost. I want to bring this one up. KG says, my dad was a Vietnam vet and would set foot in a VA hospital. My dad lost his health insurance finally, and he was diabetic, and he had to take daily insulin. So it's like, I had to force him to go to the VA because they were the only ones, and he just wouldn't go. And I'm going to tell you, Jason, if you want me to be a little conspiratorial, within a year, my dad was dead. So I don't know what you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it was probably just a culmination of my dad stressed a lot, but I do know this. My dad was afraid to go to the VA, and after a year of going in there, died,
Yeah.
Young too, by the way, relatively speaking. So.
Yeah. No, that's one of the things I've now learned with enough friends who've gone through this kind of thing is that really, if you have a friend who is trying to deal with the VA on their own, you need to find a VA advocate who can help them. It's like a counselor. It's like the equivalent of sending somebody to college and going, figure it out, but don't go to a counselor. You got to find somebody who is like the equivalent of that, or they're probably going to have a very bad time. That's just something I've noticed. But look,
this is why we need real national health care for everyone, So this isn't like you don't create an elite status that you can just shove in the back and forget about. And then Jon Stewart has to go and advocate for, you know what I mean? Because our fucking bullshit people in Congress and in the Senate are too chicken shit to actually do their jobs, Yeah.
Yeah. And, I actually like the idea of capitalism. I think it has historically been very uneven and hasn't worked, but it's worked a lot better at certain eras. And the era that we're in with neoliberal ideology, it's not working for much of anyone. And that's our real problem, I think. But Bespin just kind of goes on to say, here's what I've done with, the strike is crazy. And I've had stuff on release windows before and it's been right. And I don't know his sources. We have our own separate sources and stuff like that. But based off of just my assessment of Bespin's things here, I believe that he is 100% on. He told me a little bit about we had a conversation of the should I do it or should I not do it on the article, and I was firmly in the yes, you should do it, because it might not pan out. Nobody knows what's going to pan out right now. However, this right here, what you're saying, it does appear to be correct, and this is the target. And that will just let us know, what's going on. And also when people say the show's not really happening, it wasn't filmed, it's a conspiracy and all that.
They didn't pay their taxes in some third world. That's the biggest game I've never heard. That's a new one, Jason. Every year you think I've heard it all. And you're like, oh, they didn't pay their taxes, so they're not going to release a show. For a corporation that finds every way to get out of paying taxes. You know what I mean? No corporation's paying their taxes. It's kind of how they do business.
Yeah. Well, and it's also, I mean, it's just those people who say that kind of stuff, they don't really believe what they're saying. They don't care. It's about being able to make a point that they don't have the evidence to support at the end of the day. Like, that's why you do it. That's why you lie about your evidence. And then they say it so much that it becomes accepted that that's the truth. And then they find themselves able to just, like Indiana
Disney
Jones.
Civil War.
Well, no, but I mean, look at number one, I'm not going to give them the credit of like tanking Indiana Jones. I think that they were like literally just kicking a dead horse and then being like, we killed it. But at the same time, they were just spreading rumors that like Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character just emasculated Indiana Jones constantly left and right. And it's like, they purposely misunderstand that she's his adversary when it begins and then his ally by the end. It's things like that. And
my favorite is when they say she punched him. I'm like, Marion punched Indy in the first movie. Like,
everybody's punched
to gripe about the film. Everyone's punched. Look, man, like
Short Round burned him. So
it's good. I like that movie. People,
I love it. I love them all. I love them all.
Okay.
All right, so this has been a funny one to me, and I like Bespin's image here. The Acolyte spent $49 million in pre-production costs in Keanu Reeves cast. So right here we can see just the dollar bills flying everywhere around the Acolyte people. All right, over the last couple of days, a report from Forbes appeared with the headline: Disney spends $49 million on Star Wars spin-off The Acolyte. But there's more to the story. And you could support him, like follow him on Threads. You could support him on Patreon, become a Patreon supporter, and give him a coffee if you want to, whichever. When I came across the headline from Forbes, my eyes lit up and a wave of confusion crashed over me. $49 million on a Star Wars series? That can't be right. No shit. I'm with you, dude. Naturally, I opened the link and read the entire article. Now, by the way, this is Bespin's very, very English way of throwing shade. Naturally, I popped open the link and read the entire article, something that's quite rare on the internet, it seems, and discovered that the headline was really quite misleading in some ways, but true in another. So I thought that true in another part was where he was being a little kind to the publication. Forbes classically likes to shit on Star Wars for purely ideological reasons. Forbes are reporting that the $49 million was spent on the Acolyte's pre-production and not the series as a whole. So it's like the way that they worded that headline, Rob, was Star Wars spends $15 on Acolyte. Yeah, they did spend $15 on Acolyte. They also spent like $200 million on it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like,
right.
But for what it's worth, I don't know this for this instance, but a lot of the times the person who writes the headline and the person who writes the article are not the same. So the person who wrote the article may not have written the headline. Yeah.
ChatGPT probably wrote that article. So for all we know, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So anyways, they're reporting that $49 million was spent on the Acolyte's pre-production and not the series as a whole. Now, before we go on, I'm sure Bespin will break this down even further, but they end up doing this thing where they're like, Rogue One cost even less. But Rogue One's a fucking movie. This is a TV show that's 8 hours long. It's not, it's such a shit brain.
You know what costs the least amount of money? Star Wars, A New Fucking Hope. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's like if I took my kids out to dinner tonight and said it costs $25 to feed kids. And then went out and then looked at the monthly budget for feeding my kids and then said, like, it only costs $20 to feed kids. No, it doesn't. It costs a lot more than $20 to feed kids. So,
unironically, Jason, the very next article on Forbes was complaining about how budgets are too high. for movies and shows, and they need to be spending less money.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like you can't. I mean, weren't they just all in unison telling me last week, gotta get these budgets down? Harloff's gotta get these budgets down. Gotta get these budgets down. And then when they decide to make a $13 million He-Man movie, Harloff's like, this is too small. You gotta put money into this. You gotta back it. You gotta believe in it. Like, which is it, Harloff? Like, which is it? You know, like everyone's a fucking accountant now. You know, like
yeah, no, and you know, like I get it to like some extent. It's a delicate balance between, you know, a movie costing what it should cost and it being ridiculous. Like Indiana Jones,
I think it should cost just right.
I think
Jason, just right.
Just right. I think this quote. I wanted to read this because Bespin, you know, show producer Bespin Bulletin sent me this quote from Christopher McQuarrie about Indiana Jones. But it's not about Indiana Jones. It's about Mission Impossible. He wrote me little insight into just how expensive the opening indie scene was. Christopher McQuarrie, quote, I got the bill for de-aging those people, Tom Cruise, Julia Roberts, Morales, before their salaries were even factored into it. And if you put two of them in a shot together, or three of them in a shot together, it would have been as expensive as the train sequence by the time we were done. So he goes on, Bespin writes, the Mission Impossible 7 production built the train carts from scratch and actually crashed the train. Very expensive sequence. So,
yeah. And it's money you can appreciate when you see it on screen, you know?
Sure.
Versus looking at it. I don't know if that trick worked or not. That's what I was saying. Ralph Macchio hasn't aged a fucking day. You know, Keanu Reeves barely aged. You know,
but to be
he's
fair,
aged, but you know,
Ralph Macchio hasn't learned how to act a little better in a fucking.
Let's be honest. No offense to Isai Morales, it's not that kind of role, Jason. It's a let the AI sound play over you while you walk around the room. You know, it's that kind of role.
Kyle, you may,
and that's not true. Actually, I want to bring this up really quick about Ralph Macchio not being able to act. If you go watch that movie Beer League, one of the worst freaking movies I ever had to sit through.
I've seen Beer League. Come on, Artie
Lang was promoting it nonstop on the Stern Show.
He has a nose when he did it.
This is when he has a nose. Yeah, I know. Come on. But it's so bad. But Ralph Macchio shows up and saves the movie by just being like a likable dude. Because that fucking movie's horrible.
To be fair, he was the best thing in Beer League. You know what I mean? Come on.
Look, my pick is Keanu, but my stunt casting is Ralph Macchio. Yeah. I stand by this.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get it.
Who wouldn't want to see Ethan Hunt fight the Karate Kid? Come on.
So, Kyle, thank you for the $4.99 super chat and for being a channel member, and thank you to everybody who is a channel member and like supports the show like all the time. Like, I really appreciate it, you guys. He says we've only had crony capitalism in America. Reagan was mistaken thinking that tax cuts for the rich would be passed on to the working class. Yeah, Reagan also was the guy who led the strike for Hollywood. And then when he got into the role of the president, did PATCO and then ended unions and striking as a thing for the country, for everybody forever. He was
it's good for the goose, it's good for my gander. You know, that motherfucker. Burn in hell, Reagan.
Without making the show super boring, but the problem that we have is actually dead capital. Is that when billionaires get that capital, it doesn't actually go back in. It doesn't trickle down. It just stays with them, and then they just pay people to quote wash their boats minimum wage or whatever it happens to be. It doesn't actually that's why we have billionaires, and that dead capital is what then causes a lot of poverty. That we need to actually change like rules about dead capital. It should be one of the last things that you would want.
Well, it's why we got off the gold standard back in the day. The reason why we got off the gold standard is they would pre-buy the gold futures and then just sit on that.
Yeah.
That is not how you want to keep money moving and flowing, you know? And so they've essentially done the same thing. There's only so much shit they can buy, right? Only so many super yachts. And it's like, at some point, just pay the people. Just pay the people, and then you know what they're going to do, Bob Iger? They're going to go and take their freaking measly winnings and go see your stupid movies and go to your stupid parks. You're going to get the money back.
I mean, if you're going to get the money back. Well, if they were giving the money back, the amount of gratitude and love that they would see from those families would fill that hole in their dark little hearts more than playing the size game with next
Your
to Elon
employees
Musk.
wouldn't have to live out their car in the parking lot. This is before
they
COVID.
loved you. Yeah.
You wouldn't have to drive by encampment shanty towns on the way to work every day. Yeah. Nitwit. Robert Sinclair says some funny lines in Beer League, though, especially if you've ever been in around in Beer League. Look, here's the thing, though.
It's good. It's funny.
The idea of Beer League. No, the idea of Beer League is fantastic. Great name, great idea. Artie Lang pissed his way through it. He didn't even try. He was at a Coke and a beer and a heroin addiction, whatever else. It's just, it was wasted on a guy who was not even trying. And I'm sorry, that's how I felt at the day. And it's sad seeing what's happened to Artie since. But that movie was like, that could have been his Bad Santa. And he shat it away, trying to like lazily pretend to be John Belushi. I watched Jim Belushi try to be John Belushi, and that didn't work too well. But
let's also, let's look at Artie without going and making this an Artie Lang podcast. Artie Lang is mentally ill, and no one should be hiring him to be the lead in anything at all.
Correct.
He just needs stability. That's what that guy needs. It's sad. It's sad.
Galactic Starship. Oh wait, that's out. It's not stable now.
Wait, did you want him to work at Galactic Starship? Don't push that on Artie Lang. He could play. But it would have been. You know what? He could play Dr. Evazan with that.
Oh no, you're being mean. I'm not picking on him.
I am. Oh yeah. Man,
speaking of the VA, when I was a kid, my mom remarried. This guy was actually in the Army at the time, been in since Vietnam. They took me to the VA to meet Vietnam veterans who snorted heroin through their nose like that, and they had the same nose removal surgery. Yeah. And they were like, "Don't be me, kid." And I'm like, "Jesus Christ!" Like, I just wanted to go to Crown Books and get the new Ninja Turtles like trade paperback, but I had to watch this horror show. Like, I don't want to do drugs. I just want to read my Turtles comics and draw Spawn. And here I am, Jason, today, not snorting heroin.
Well, looking back on it, Rob, I think when our parents did that kind of stuff to us, we could look at them and say, "Was that for us or you?" Anyways, when I came across the headline from Forbes, my eyes lit up and a wave of confusion crashed over me. 49 million on Star Wars, that can't be right. 49 million, that's too low. The Acolyte's pre-production and not on the series as a whole. The Acolyte's production budget was not 49 million. However, given the title of the article, I can understand how some fans have been confused and thinking it was 49 million on the series and not just pre-production.
It would have been if I had made it. I like to do things on a budget.
You could.
That's how we do it.
I think George could do it. The Forbes article goes on
experimentally,
that the Acolyte spent $5 million more than the Rogue One, a Star Wars story in pre-production. But that Star Wars,
oh my God,
The Last Jedi spent 17% more, and then Andor spent a whopping 38% more than the Acolyte in pre-production. See, and right there is where you have it. Like Andor,
palpitations.
Well, no, Andor is the only thing here that compares. They're comparing television shows and they're comparing films, and it's not the same kind of production, not the same development. You're not making a series Bible for multiple seasons. You're trying to do a film, and it's apples and oranges,
If the thing is like the lowest watched Star Wars ever, then they're going to say they spent too much on it.
Yeah.
You just can't win with this stuff. I got a friend now who sends me texts. "Oh, Acolyte, huh?" I'm like, I don't know what you mean by that, but all right. Well, you watched it? Well, no, I mean, you're looking forward to it, huh? I'm like, no more or less than any other Star Wars show that isn't called Andor,
Well, I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, it might be the next best thing since Andor. We don't know yet, In regards to Andor, it was a series that was impacted by COVID-19, and they even had to stop pre-production for 4 months, which likely impacted cost. But also, Andor was given the biggest budget of any Star Wars series, with the Hollywood Reporter claiming that the Rogue One prequel cost a whopping $250 million. The Forbes article added, the Forbes article added that the TV series produced in the United Kingdom benefit from the television tax relief (TPC) scheme, which allows studios to claim a reimbursement of up to 25% of the money they spend in the UK, and at least 10% of the core cost of the production need to be related to activities in the United Kingdom. Now, if you've heard me on this show before, stupidly ask you, I never understood why they had an art department at Pinewood. Well, that's why. I asked that on the show before, and I talked
to James Cameron. He says it's for tea. They just eat tea, and he actually like tossed the tea lady's tea cart one day when she showed up. He table flipped her cart. Poor woman.
Forbes added that the Acolyte spending was forecasted to be in line with the production budget.
Iron Jim.
One condition of getting the cash reimbursement is that the production must spend at least $1.3 million per broadcast hour, and that by September 22nd of last year, the Acolyte qualified for a cash reimbursement of $7.6 million.
This is like Brewster's Millions. They gotta spend the money, right?
Also, on top of that kind of stuff right there, like that's probably like will probably be updated. It's probably going to be more than that. That's probably only what was accounted for
in Brewster's Millions. Was Annie Potts for a while?
No, you would be wrong.
And I was wrong, but I thought
and it's not Leah Thompson either. No, I'm kidding.
Huh?
Just
not in that movie, but in Summer Rental.
Little Facebook.
What? Police Academy 4 for certain.
No. That's not Steve Guttenberg at all. It's my understanding that the Acolyte's budget is more than $100 million and costs more than most Star Wars series. Andor has the highest production budget of Star Wars, but Skeleton Crew that follows up the second highest production of $136 million. Yeah, so Skeleton Crew is the highest of the Southern California productions. And I don't know.
I know what the lowest is.
Uh-oh.
I know what the lowest is.
What is it?
It's Kenobi.
Oh,
yeah, we don't spend money on Kenobi. We don't spend no money on Kenobi.
No,
it's
and that would actually probably be incorrect as well. That's something
cheap.
That's something that people they come to that conclusion on that one, and they might be right, but they also might be wrong because the production turnaround may have made that one cost just as much because they did it in such a quick time. Yeah, and
lied to me. He said it was cheap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean when
he said he concluded it was cheap. I was like, what are you talking about?
When you pay overtime, I believe the Acolyte costs more than Skeleton Crew, and I think so. But I also I also just like I got to say, like, once again, Bestwood's not doing anything wrong here, but I just don't see how the Californian productions and the UK productions like compare. They're using completely different tools and methodologies, and so the only thing that you could really compare Acolyte to would be Andor. And what we've seen from both productions, it's looking like they're both probably in line with one another. And I think a real fear that we should have is if Acolyte doesn't become a breakout success, that's huge. The chances are, though, we're going to see it made. The second season will get very tiny at that point, or feel much smaller, or I honestly, I could see them doing short seasons even of these shows because of the fact that you'd have less investment to pay per year on the show, Like,
is Iger buy Quibi next and just release them all on Quibi?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, and what sucks is I'm with what you've always said, Rob, is that like a lot of the Marvel television shows that are like 6 episodes feel like just failed films that were made into television shows instead of films.
Elongated out.
Just not good, really. Yeah, right. and I don't want that to happen in this case either. But I think something's going to have to change moving here forward, and but we might not like Andor. Looking back on it, like looking at what Andor was and is. In the big picture, I don't think Andor. I think Andor should have been a film. I think Andor. I do.
No. They shouldn't have put a bunch of janky ass, cheap ass bullshit on Disney Plus, thus making the term Disney Plus synonymous with failure and cheap and bullshit janky stuff. Because if that Andor had that same exact show had been an HBO exclusive, it would have been one of the highest talked about. Watch shows anywhere.
Right. But what you end up having is an investment of a high dollar that you could. I think Andor would have, as a film, would have got more return for them in reality, in actuality, than what they got from it on Disney Plus, and ever would have. I don't even. You can't quantify. They don't even. You can't really truly quantify what.
Well, this quantification problem though has more to do with the fact that they've. I mean, the LA Times wrote an article about it, that they've Silicon Valleyed fucking Hollywood. You know, and it's like, you know, rather than using tried and true formulas of, hey man, we could put the shit on fucking rental, we could put the shit on physical disc and make money after the theatrical release. Now it's like, no, now it's going to get stored on our streaming service that we don't want to pay residuals for. And by the way, if we don't keep getting new people in, then none of this makes any sense. We got to cancel everything anyway. That's making they just don't know what the fuck they're doing. It's a giant Ponzi scheme set around trying to like game futures so that they can do stock buybacks and all this other bullshit. And it's got nothing to do with making quality goods or having them made available to people for a reasonable price, you know?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
And NPC Epic Battle says Andor is good to have for the long term. And I agree with you. I think that Andor gives Disney Plus a bit of prestige. It doesn't have otherwise.
In the way, mind you, that Daredevil gave Netflix some. I only went back to Netflix when the Daredevil shit showed up. You know, like, I'm going to be honest with you, man. Like, that's even like pre-Stranger Things, I think, or right around the same time. Like if it wasn't for Stranger Things and Daredevil, there's no fucking way I would have given Netflix $1 fucking dollar. You know, so it's like HBO has consistently put out pretty good shit over the last 20 years. So, like, you know, props to them. But if right now Disney Plus had a chance, and when Mando started, no one was like Disney Plus synonymous with failure. It was like, oh, this is doing well. And then after the rollout of endless fucking shows that don't actually live up to their hype, you then go, oh, this is like basically a streaming version of the ABC channel.
Yeah. No, something happened at Disney, and you could put it on Chapek, you could put it on all of these different things, try to figure out what it is. Nobody really knows, but something definitely happened.
Correct.
Where a methodology shifted, and I don't think they intended for it to be. My personal theory is that under Bob Iger, when they said something stupid like we want to do a Ben Quadranero show, if he couldn't soundbite it back to them, it didn't happen. And I think that under Chapek, it was like, I trust these people. These people have all proven themselves. And then at the end of the day, they ended up going outside off the rails a little bit in totality. That's where my brain is at. That's what it sounds like to me. It's probably not right though. Bestman goes on to say the Forbes article also mentions that details of the Acolyte are tightly under wraps. Oh, that old line. So fucking boring. The details of the next Star Wars project are tightly under wraps. Oh, you fucking think?
That's because Iger sleeps with him under his weed pillow.
Yeah,
you know,
no,
it's got a weed pillow. It's true. I've seen it.
No, he won't eat a burger with a bun, only a wrap. Anyways, but adds that an online rumor from recent days revealed that Keanu Reeves, Ted, Theodore Logan,
should have been the villain in Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning,
is part of the cast. So they're saying that Keanu Reeves has been revealed to be in the Acolyte. Now remember, Carrie-Anne Moss is in it as well from The Matrix, which is clearly where this comes from. Moss, whatever the fuck her name is.
What? Moosh.
You know what? Too many fucking names. 2 names. That's all anybody's getting these days from me.
Yeah.
Carrie-Anne.
Moosh.
Carol Ann. By the way, slight story. I went to the beach with this girl, right? And tell me, does this make her cool? Or does this make her an idiot? Okay. We're at the beach and we're near an Air Force base. And we start to hear the Star Spangled Banner national anthem and all that stuff playing from the base. And she looks at me dead in the face and goes, "Oh my God, it's the song from Poltergeist."
Okay, she's a keeper, marry her.
I was like, I started laughing. She's like, "What?" I'm like, number one, it's funny that you said Poltergeist, but also funny that you might not.
There's a podcast I listen to. There's a podcast I listen to pretty regularly called The Film Flamers. They're really good. It's 2 gay dudes, right? And they did their episode of the Poltergeist. It's just so good. It's not a funny, like they're serious, like they seriously get into it, but seriously, yeah, it's seriously really good. They're covered. They do like Heathers, you know, they do like a lot of crossovers. It's supposed to be horror movies, but they do crossovers. So they got Batman Returns in there, but the Poltergeist one is fantastic.
By the way, NPC Epic Battles is still talking about this, but I just wanted to add that, you know, Andor is good for the long term, and I'm with you. I think that Andor is the Star Wars show that in 20 years, Star Wars fans will go back to. That it won't immediately give them what they need at this moment, but that will be legacy content that is definitive about how it's
a human story. It's a human story and not wrapped around, I wonder what character is tied to someone who trained someone in a third book from a fourth season of an episode that mattered to me when I was 12. You know?
So anyways, best spin on the Keanu Reeves thing. Remember, we needed to
Keanu Reeves.
This is fucking ridiculous. But I discovered it was reported by Giant Freaking Robot 6 days ago that Reeves filmed a cameo for a Disney Plus series. By the way, people keep telling him certain of their stories are lifted from stuff I've done, and they keep banning those people. They keep blocking them. Which I don't know if it is. I don't care. But I mean, it's kind of funny when somebody's like, "Hey, this person reported it first," they're blocking him. Reeves has long been fan cast as Darth Revan, the beloved character from the Knights of the Old Republic games. So if it was true, I'm sure some fans would be delighted. Personally, I don't subscribe to the report. As
Reevens?
Darth
Reevens.
Revan.
Keanu Reevens, kind of. Come on.
Keanu Reeves.
You don't see how they figured that one out. You know, like clever.
Personally, I don't subscribe to the report, as GFR, in my personal opinion, does not have a stellar track record when it comes to Star Wars reports. And my readers know I only cover online rumors and outlets and individuals that I believe to be highly accurate. It is that's called editorial conceit. You know, that's what you're supposed to have. But most people just want an excuse to go forward. No, they just want an excuse to move forward with something. Now, if you're going to break it down and analytically, you know, tear apart a piece of shit, fair enough.
That's what I do.
But some people will go and they'll be like, "Oh,
analytically."
But some people just see it as an excuse to. So, yeah, like in the like my whole thing from what I've heard about World Between Worlds kind of elements in the show is that we see like visions of what Ahsoka, what would have happened to Ahsoka had she stayed being a Jedi with Anakin. She carries a guilt for him having fallen to the dark side. And she sees, actually, Obi-Wan Kenobi would be killed and you would be fighting him on that battlefield and having to dismember him yourself. So at the end of the day, Obi-Wan's alive or lived and did what he needed to do, and you didn't have to do that. So she sees that like she actually makes the right choice. But they're
saying a woman was better than Obi-Wan Kenobi. No one's better than my boy. No woman's better than my boy.
They're reporting that she goes to a multiverse. I'm not.
Oh shit!
That. I'm not saying.
Oh
that.
shit!
Yeah.
Jason.
And that's not my understanding of that. My understanding of that is simply it's like looking at the mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all, and then she sees some shit, you know. So that's my understanding.
If it's a bunch of possibilities, that's what people are going to take away from it, though. You know?
Yeah, but it's not her like time traveling around like Ted Theodore Logan, you know, with the greatest Jedis of all time.
See, someone asked me why you were gone. I think it was on Santa's show. I was on Santa's show for a day, Jason. Thought you were going to be there. You didn't show up. Let me with Santa. Thanks for that.
Bitch.
They asked me what I thought about the World Between Worlds. And I'm like, look, man, I don't really know much about it. But when I heard about it, the idea that there's some place that exists outside of time is what I thought Lucas was going to explain as being where Yoda and Obi-Wan went when they sacrificed themselves and became one with the Force. They didn't really become one with the Force so much as they went to another realm that wasn't a corporeal realm. It was like in sort of like a mental purgatory. So like they're there as a resource, kind of like, like it's another area that just exists right outside of our own that we can communicate with, but they can't physically they can't lift your fucking X-Wing in the 9th film for you, Jason. All right.
Here's what you need to like, all that you really need to know about the rules of it is if it happened, it always happened. it's like you can't just go back and then like kill Palpatine when he's a baby now. If that would be the case, then that always would have been what happened. So
Star Wars is about killing kids, though. Like,
Anakin's all about it, but he's like, let's get Palpatine when he's a baby. But no, but that's just what it is. So
I want to kill a baby.
But,
no, Anakin, you can't. I want to do it. No, you can't do it.
So Bespin, being very fair, says, I don't subscribe to the report, and it's worth mentioning that GFR has a better record with non-Star Wars reports, recently reporting that Linda was cast in Stranger Things season 5 days before it was announced officially. Well, once again, it was about to be announced, so it's low-hanging fruit. And that Kurt Russell, the Thing, was cast in Apple's upcoming live-action Godzilla series. And so then he goes on to talk about that. Yeah, talks about the Acolyte when it's set. So yeah, it's one of those things where, you know, a broken clock is right twice a day, and it's one of those things where just because you're good at Marvel doesn't mean you're good at Star Wars. Because you're good at Star Wars doesn't mean you're good at Marvel. They're completely different places.
What if you're good at Avatar? I've been pretty good at Avatar.
I've been pretty good at Avatar. By the way, we know somebody who is on that new Avatar. And no, they were. I don't remember if we brought it up, but they were saying that Cameron has a room where he has a bat and he beats up machines.
I had one of those at Kinko's.
He has like one of those. I had one of those like rage rooms.
We are so much alike. Iron Jim and me are so much alike, dude. Iron Jim.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah,
it's called an Office Space. So that's what we call it, Jason.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good to know. That's what I like to do. Yeah. You gotta let the rage out, man. I mean, that's your favorite part of Andor, when he rages against the machine.
One of my favorite parts of Office Space too.
See?
So Star Wars Andor season 2 filming in Oxford, England, amid SAG-AFTRA strike. So yeah, what's going on basically is that they're filming Andor what they can using non-union labor. Right here you can see like this little weird space machine they build out in this cornfield.
Let me see.
So you can see it right there.
Oh wow, UAPs.
What
does Rush think about it?
The band? Oh, they think Tom is cool. Basically, Bespin has an update. Oh, it cut me out. I said Tom Sawyer. Yeah, Deadline.
Oh, Tom Sawyer.
Yeah. Deadline are reporting that Andor season 2 is still currently filming without its SAG-AFTRA members. It's unclear when Andor will film with its striking cast members, and filming will eventually be forced to pause. Despite filming ongoing without its non-SAG-AFTRA members, filming will be cut short as Andor was set to wrap filming in a few weeks. So the original article. New set photo comments from Redditors claim that filming on the second season of the critically acclaimed series Andor is ongoing, and the production was spotted filming today in Oxford, England. And so a lot of the article kind of gets like a little bit dated with, you know, that update from Deadline, but we can see the picture here from Andor of this. Like I said, looks like these are probably like some kind of agricultural farm workers of some kind or something. And just, you know, so they're probably, you know, using crew members and stuff to be actors in it. The user didn't know what the production was outside of it being Star Wars, but other users quickly commented.
Hold on. I just want to say, Bespin, now's your chance to get in on a Star Wars production.
It is?
You know, you can get in.
This is when you can do it? All right.
Come on, you can scab for us. Come on,
Bespin.
Scab for us. Scab.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see they like built this thing out here, and I would imagine that they could build this thing. They could probably film stuff all around it. And if you need an Andor, you could probably or you could probably you could probably replicate that little patch of wheat or whatever the hell that is out there, and then film around it and make it seem like he's there just fine, you know. And a guy named
John Favreau's like, we could have done that whole thing as an Unreal model. You know, what are you doing?
What are you
doing?
We
can film it out here in a parking lot in El Segundo. I can eat my my filet of fish.
Parking lot at an Arby's. We could have beef sandwiches. All right, SDCC.
Beef sandwiches. Barbecues.
Yeah, so another article from Bespin: Star Wars Ahsoka concept art and lightsabers revealed at San Diego Comic-Con. Right here, you could see her lightsaber if you care about that kind of stuff, and some of the concept art from it. And we got to get.
I want to say this: I did. Santa showed me some of those lightsaber pics where we were going over those a little bit, and didn't get a chance to.
Yeah.
I will say this: these look more like what I thought the sabers would look like in the prequel trilogy, when they're still put together with like, you know, machine parts, but they're a little bit smoother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they're not out of the realm. Like prequel sabers, I hate them, bro. Like I hate it. Hate them.
Jermaine from IO9 took these pics.
Wow, thanks, Jermaine. Louisiana.
Fancy name. Yeah, right here you could, you know, get a good look at the Inquisitor's saber. And by the way, at Disneyland they hired real like fans that make good quality lightsabers to make some of these lightsabers in the past, like the Inquisitor's lightsabers and stuff. And they're no, like this is like 2014, 15 or something.
Oh, okay.
And they looked like shit compared to this stuff. Like what we're seeing. Yeah, it is like I can tell you this could have went so much worse. Like this is really good.
You don't have access to the materials, you know. It's like 3D printed parts and shit now, you know. Like
I don't. Well, they were making a saber based off of a cartoon and just like doing their best and did what they were, you know, contracted to like do.
It's not their fault, but I'm just saying there's a world of difference. That's why, like, I'm really big on material design and not like literally the materials being used in machine props and stuff. And I've complained endlessly about the feel of everything, and even the Phantom Menace just feels off to me. And you brought up why that is, but it just doesn't have the same feel. But the feel there is great. I think that looks brilliant.
Yeah.
Man, we're gonna look at a bunch of concept art that ain't gonna be in the show. We'll see.
Well, we've already seen this in the show. Now I know
my hopes up, you know.
So the show's on that bridge. Now I know for a fact that the bridge in the show with that Thrawn is going to be on for most of it is the Chimera, is the ship from that. So I don't know if this is concept art for the Chimera or if this is concept art for the ship that Morgan Elsbeth.
Did you imagine Thrawn's ship being gold? Never would have imagined that. I mean, I've seen it drawn. It just look like a Star Destroyer.
Yeah. Right there. We got Feet City. Put a giant.
Oh, I know. I brought that up to Santa. We were talking about feats for like an hour. It's great.
Yeah.
He liked to say that when he goes to Gatlinburg, he likes to tell women toes, not hose, hose. You know.
Oh shit, toes, ladies.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of a Quentin Tarantino, huh?
A little bit. Well, Toantino. Toantino.
Quentin Tarantino. Yeah. This gold one is probably like the coolest one in my opinion. I like it. But there we go. There we have it. And,
you know what it reminds me of? Kind of like when the original concept art for the Nemodians, when they were going to be gray aliens covered in gold. Yeah. Right. And then they had the standing stations and stuff. Kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah. When they were doing like Bridge World, like the Bridge World with all of the gold and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. That was better.
Says, welcome back. Thank you, Baymax. And thank you for being a channel member, dude. I appreciate the support, dude. Yeah. Always
Thanks,
do.
Baymax.
And you being a buddy as well, of course. But,
hey, little buddy.
Yeah, but thank you to everybody who supported the show today. Wasn't my intention to get a bunch of super chats, but no, and thank you, Rob. I do appreciate it, Rob, and everybody who supported the show. Thank you so much for that. It means a lot to me. And going forward,
cancel tomorrow, folks.
I'm gonna have to. No, I think I have some windows that I can make things happen for like the next couple of days. And but I'm gonna have to, like I said,
you're gonna say get out of here. Does it come to that? You're washing windows now?
Yeah. No, I might have to, man. It might come to that. Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna, like I said, I gotta move out of here, and I gotta find some other fucking form of work that works. Like I said, I'm guessing going forward, I'll probably do the show at night. You know what I mean? Like later on in the evening.
I'm available.
And they're available.
Jason, this is the great thing about a comic book artist is we never see
you never leave the room.
Never leave the room. Never sleep. Wear compression socks, folks. That's my advice to you. Wear compression socks. Start young.
That's fair. All right. Well, okay. So we will be, I said, I plan on going live tomorrow, covering whatever the news is and talking about the industry and film and stuff like that. Rob, if you want to do a UFO show this week, I will assemble, if you're down for it, we could assemble some like notes. I should actually do it. I kind of think we should, especially because like early on when we were talking about some of the stuff, like this is sort of the head that it's come to. And I think that we should say what it has come to, but with a little bit more time, you know. And thank you, KG, for the
Harloff's doing UFO shows now, man. Like he's just trying to take over all our stuff, dude. Look at that guy.
You know,
I mean, he's gonna start doing his own theme songs next.
Hey.
You know,
whoever wants to come hang out, he's always welcome. You know, he doesn't have to like or not like Star Wars News.net. He could just come over and talk about spacemen if he wants to. I'm highly I still think that there's, you know, something to the phenomenon itself, but I don't think that this is it for sure. That's where I'm at with it. But
I do too. I do too. Yeah. I do too. But it ain't these guys.
No, it's not. And if there is just no news of Worth a Damn and it's just depressing industry news, we'll just do the UFO show next. You know, that's what I think probably how we'll go about it.
Well, you know, Jason, I can endlessly talk about nothing for an hour. So as you've seen, I can drag out any conversation, you know, like I'm good at this, you know. Now whether it's entertaining or not, I do not know. But I will, you know, I'll throw a Filoni in every 30 minutes and that'll get us by. You know, we'll wheel them out.
Yeah, I just got a text from my daughter and it says, "Dad, I'm hungry. This is not a joke."
I think she and I get along more than you think, man. Like, she wants tomatoes.
Yeah, she does want
tomato
tomatoes.
Soup.
Oh man, one of them. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Khonshu, for that really, really generous super chat. I mean, that's beyond the Call of Duty. I'm very grateful. Thank you so much. It makes a big difference, especially with moving. Makes a huge difference, and I thank you a lot. Yeah.
After the conversion rate, it'd be like $20, but thank you.
I don't know. I'm gonna move to Canada. It's more there. All right, everybody. Thank you, guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Rob, I'll see you tomorrow. And bye, everybody. Tomorrow is
the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
You know you should go.
Come on, let's go.
It's not about spaceships.